Hi friends, my name is Jennifer. I'm the Director of Marketing at the South Carolina State Museum. We know a lot of you are staying home and staying safe right now, just like we are, and you're probably spending more time watching movies and scrolling through YouTube videos. So we thought we would do something fun, and we have invited our museum subject matter experts to do some reaction videos for us. Our first reaction is going to be from The Patriot. This movie is set in South Carolina during the Revolutionary War. So we're going to have our cultural history curator, JoAnn Zeise, and our art and history education manager, Jennifer Lee. They're going to be watching some clips from this movie dealing specifically with military moments in military history, and they're going to watch and give us their reaction and give us their thoughts. Now, if you like this content and you want to see more of it, go ahead and give us a like, go ahead and hit subscribe so you'll get notifications when we post our new reaction videos. And if you have any questions about any of the content that you see, or if you have suggestions for other things that we might want to watch and react to, just please put them down in the comments below. And without any further ado, Jennifer and JoAnn, go ahead and take it away.
All right, so Jennifer, this is supposed to be the Battle of Camden, correct?
It is supposed to be the Battle of Camden, but unlike what we're seeing here, the actual Battle of Camden took place in a very scrubby pine swamp. Actually, it's also known as the Battle of Gum Swamp. So there's a lot of fighting around trees. It was at dawn on a very humid August morning. So not so wide open, and certainly without a lovely abandoned house vantage point for Benjamin and Gabriel here.
Yeah, that's not how that would have gone down with an empty house right there to look out on the battle. But if there was an empty field, they're doing a pretty good job of showing about how these troops are moving in the space. I will say that the uniforms here were actually done by the Smithsonian, research by the Smithsonian, so they're pretty good. One of the things I'll do for the British is saying that their uniforms are a little too uniform. They're wearing exactly the same thing, while each company kind of would have had their own like special fitting and buttons, so that if you think about on this field trying to find your men, you want them uniform, but you want to be able to identify them in the smoke and the fog and all that. And then here's wonderful Mel Gibson, who's just happened to sneak up on his son.
Right. Even though he left this morning and Gabriel left last night. But here we are meeting at our war house.
Again, weapons and stuff are pretty good, but they're a little too uniform here. And then over the uniforms on the Continental side.
Well, the Continentals these show very, very uniform, but also the vast majority of them are Continentals, which the Battle of Camden, you had over half who were militia, who almost immediately broke ranks and ran when they were faced with a 33rd Regiment of Foot, even without firing their weapons the first time. So these guys have helped. See, now they're starting to run. But you would have had like them breaking away even earlier, and then you would have had the brave Delaware and Maryland Continentals who didn't know they'd gone, continuing the fight for about the next 20 to 25 minutes. Huge defeat, one of the worst, if not the worst, for the Americans in the entire Revolution.
But I will also give a shout out to this clip about some of the cannon work here. So a lot of cannons, and they do it here, they just blow up in the ground for no reason. If we can go back to the cannonball here, you see these big smokes. So that part is just kind of movie magic.
Here it is, and here it
comes.
comes.
Bounce. It's gonna be nasty. Woo, yeah, that is actually a thing. So one of the things you want to do is bounce that cannonball. So that's what they did. The same thing in the Navy. They bounce it over the water. So that way you could, rather than just hit one person, you'd hit all those lines behind. So that, while gruesome, is actually pretty good. So. I think this scene has a lot of good points to it. Some really big historical notice with some of the details are okay.
Right, the details are lovely. The grand sweeping thing, not so much. Although after this he is talking about how, Gates has really screwed this up, because Gates was trained as a British officer. He knew exactly how Cornwallis was going to line up his men. He knew that Cornwallis would put his best men on his right and his worst on his left.
And there's Cornwallis.
And there's old Cornwallis. So Gates did the same thing, which then meant that Gates' worst were facing Cornwallis's best. A lot of those fellows were untried.
And they were tired.
Untrained.
They were very tired coming in there.
They were tired. They've been
Gotta
eating,
put that in.
we're told, nothing but green peaches and corn for like weeks on end. The night before, they were finally given some meat and molasses. That didn't help the system. They talk about during that night march as they're going along, many of them kept breaking ranks because their stomachs were so upset. So you wake up the next morning, actually you've had a little skirmish in the nighttime. Everybody realizes, wait, hold on. Oh, that's the enemy. Stop, halt, everybody back up, go to your sides. We'll chat about this in the morning. Line up. You see the best of the best across from you. You really have never been in a battle before. It's no wonder so many of them were just terrified and ran away.
So this scene takes place, I guess, somewhere not too far outside Charleston. And here we have Cornwallis being very fancy. I don't know what the right word here is, but it's not a good portrayal of the poor man.
Probably he was not foppish at all. He was known as a soldier's soldier. This was his career. Yes, he was a lord, he was an earl, but he wouldn't have been so ridiculously concerned with, how do I look? And, he's not Scarlet Pimpernelling around, basically.
Right, and he would not be saying his things should be taken off the ship before any of the weapons. Like that, he was a very well-respected soldier who was not, he knew his own worth and where his standing in the world, but it was not. So this poor ship going up here, his stuff would not have been taken off purpose.
Yes.
This is very true.
Also,
but this movie does not portray him very. Oh, look, martini glass. I'm not gonna.
Not right. That's not right either. No, and also Cornwallis and Tarleton actually had a very close, almost father-son relationship throughout the American Revolution. He was very much a mentor to Tarleton. So this animosity that you see between the two of them didn't exist. He thought Tarleton was just rockin' awesome.
This one we're looking at is what is maybe a mashup of a couple battles, but mostly the Battle of Cowpens. Right, Jennifer?
Yes, this is supposed to be mostly based on the Battle of Cowpens, although there are no pens of cows around here. And there are a lot of things about this that are really, really right. Now, Cornwallis wasn't at that. Tarleton was. And Daniel Morgan was the one who was leading the Americans. And he, much like you see in this with Benjamin Martin, he did that whole thing of let's take the British lack of belief in our militia and use it to our advantage. So he told his men, give me 2 fires. Hold your ground, give me 2 fires. And then you're gonna look like you're retreating, but we're planning a little surprise for the British. And it worked beautifully.
Right, and here they are giving that second volley, and the British assume they've got them. They're on the run.
And so, yeah, it looks like a very disorderly.
And there goes the Gadsden flag.
Yay!
And here he is, being overconfident, which he probably wouldn't have, but a little too much.
He wasn't even there. Tarleton was overconfident.
He was.
Right, Cornwallis wasn't there. Tarleton was overconfident and decided to go chase him
What
down.
you see here is the militia that had been purposely placed in the middle. That middle of the line is collapsing, and the British are falling into that line. They think this is a rout, and they are going to
We're going to get them.
Into the center.
And the pompous British are falling for it.
Exactly. It's interesting. I wonder if Cornwallis would have fallen for it had he been there. I mean,
He might have. I don't know what this giant brick structure is supposed to be that looks like a medieval castle ruin.
We have in the backcountry of South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Right.
And here we go. So here they are going down the hill. So
And then,
not see this, right? So as soon as they see this, Tarleton, Abington, no fool. And this is a great, also the way they're firing their guns and in their lines. This is why they stood in a line to fight these battles. So they didn't stand in a line to shoot each other because it was ridiculous. It actually made a lot of sense for the weapons they had. So for the cannon to bounce through the lines we talked about, and for the way their guns, which aren't very accurate. Although if you notice here, no one's actually really firing their guns except Mel Gibson. The rest of them are like
yeah, and they certainly never reload. But
Right. They could reload like 4 times a minute. A good.
If they were really good at it.
They were really good, but not quite that fast. So, but it's a really good showing how and why these tactics work. And then we come to the end of this big fight scene here, where Mel Gibson has dramatically taken the American flag and gotten the horse with it. So you really wouldn't want to do this to the flag for many reasons, but one of them is, as he does earlier, this is a communication device. The flag is for showing the troops where to go. So it's really important that you pick that thing up and communicate it in the right way, and not stabbing your enemy's horse. And then we get to this very dramatic scene. And the weapons here are actually really good. So this tomahawk is the Cherokee tomahawk. So it's pretty spot on the way it looks. His sword is good, and the way they stage this fight is very dramatic, and would be very good. And one of the reasons I want to talk about this one is that they show really good with the lining up, but they also do a good job. You look at the scene, the chaos of it, the brutality, the hand-to-hand combat. So once you are close enough to get to each other, you are fighting with your bayonet, with swords, you're clubbing each other with your guns, you are going at it in a really terrifying and
brutal way. I mean, it's so visceral. Yeah.
So if you try to, so when you look at the background here, not just these two who are doing a pretty good fight, it shows what that chaos would be like on the battlefield. And again, why that flag is really important to be able to rally over here. Our group is over here and we're going this way.
The flags and the musicians. I mean, that's how they would have communicated, because you can't hear anything otherwise.
Absolutely. So they were a communication device. If you see this chaos, trying to know where your group is, where your company is really important. So, but this is showing that is really good.
Yeah, and especially like you had talked about earlier too, with all of the different uniforms that everybody would have had. That's why flags, especially, they're up higher, and you're like, okay, I know that's my flag. That's where I need to be, because maybe these guys kind of look like me, but maybe they kind of don't.
Right. So communicating in all this chaos was a very important thing. So you have this epic battle scene with the bad guy who's going to ruin it, unfortunately, by taking too long to say the bad guy theme, and then do like a really bad shot of his sword. Very dramatic, very beautiful, a beautiful movie to listen to.
Oh, it is. And you see, oh, the hope is there. There goes the American flag. Oh, yeah, victory is in our sights. Yeah.
It's beautifully done on several. The acting in it is tremendous. There's some really great performances. His right there, he just could not be better. Heath Ledger.
I know.
So this really is a good movie to watch. But what it should really do is be the springboard. See, look at this. He wouldn't have shot. Anyway, this is not how you kill someone with a sword. This is not a beheading.
It's not Braveheart.
It's a really good movie to watch, but let it be a springboard for you to learn more about what really happened.